Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Town of Lexington Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. This meeting is being broadcast live on the Town of Lexington YouTube channel. This board is comprised of town citizens. We are appointed by Town Council and we serve with no pay. We are a legal board operating under the Comprehensive Planning Act of the state of South Carolina. Although this meeting may not seem as formal as a hearing in court, all statements must be true, factual, and not made in a manner to mislead us. Please understand that we must make our decisions within the parameters of state law. State law requires us to grant a variance if and only if we find each of the following four statements is true. There are particular, extraordinary, and exceptional conditions pertaining to a particular piece of property in question because of its size, shape, or topography. These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Because of these conditions, the application of the ordinance to a particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. The authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent property or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by granting the variance. Moreover, state law prohibits us from granting a variance simply because the property could be used more profitably if the variance were granted. We are not concerned with the use of the property. The use of the property is determined by others. We ask that you please confine your remarks to the issue at hand. Should we make a decision that you believe is incorrect, you may appeal our decision to the circuit court within certain time limits provided by state law. In the case of such an appeal is made, it is important that the circuit court know who testified at this meeting. Please sign the sign-in sheet and identify yourself before speaking. Thank you very much. Our first variance, variance 2024-6V. We'll hear from staff.
Thank you. Mr. Bill Bonneville with Bonneville Sign Group has requested a variance from the sign ordinance to install an additional wall sign at Prisma Health Urgent Care located at 5061 Sunset Boulevard. Sign ordinance allows a single business on one lot with one road frontage to have two signs. In this case, the applicant wishes to install a third sign, which would be a wall sign, on the Sunset Boulevard side of the building. To approve this request, the board will need to grant variances to allow 12 additional square feet of signage on the property, because it will exceed the 150 square foot allowance, and a separate variance for 3 total signs. The board should be aware that if an additional wall sign is a priority for this business, there may be mechanisms in the code that could allow it, but it would require a cooperative effort between the applicant and the neighboring commercial parcels that all utilize the driveway access to Sunset Boulevard. Finally, I'm going to add one other comment. I went by the Prisma Health Urgent Care on Sunset Boulevard, on Harbison Boulevard, and this site already has more signage than that one. So,
okay. John, I think that last bit is uncharacteristic from the standpoint that it's a bit, normally everything is very clear and it might just be me. Could you give me a little bit more explanation about what you're talking about in that last, about code and cooperative effort? I'm not sure I follow.
So you may recall we never actually heard the variance request last fall, but there was a variance request that was on your agenda a couple of times and then it was eventually pulled. This area was originally permitted by the Planning Commission as a 4-parcel commercial center. The 2 parcels on the Sunset Boulevard that face on Sunset Boulevard were developed, and then a number of years went by where the 2 in the rear were never parceled out and have never been developed. There was an effort to develop those rear parcels, but one of the issues was allowing signage for those rear parcels to have visibility on Sunset Boulevard. Well, the way to do that would be to call this, from a signage standpoint, as a commercial center. That way everybody could be on one monument sign at the front. That effort failed for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but had that transpired, there may be a way for us to work through the sign that's being requested as an end cap. It would have to go through architectural review. I'm not saying it would get approved, but there is a mechanism there that could be explored. And my understanding was this particular property owner wasn't interested in helping with that, but we weren't involved in those conversations.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? Hear from the applicant, please.
Yeah, I'm Bill Bonneville. I'm basically here representing Prisma Health Urgent Care. I guess I don't know how you define a road. I guess that's not a road that goes back to all those other properties back there? Yes, sir, it's a driveway. A multi-use driveway, I guess. Okay, I mean, it looks like a road, but I don't, what do I know? The only reason that they want this sign is simply because of the nature of their business. They fill in, they take people that reduce the use of the emergency room. They basically are an urgent care facility. They want more visibility. They want people driving down the road, if they need to find them, to make it easy to find them. There's no, they're going to still exist if they don't have a sign on the north elevation. They're just attempting to make sure everybody knows that, if you're bleeding, you can come in here and get stitched up, basically.
Were you involved with the first go-around when they put signage up on this building?
We applied for the permits for the building, yes. And
at the time, why did they not discuss the fact that they're putting signs? I know it's over their front door, but it doesn't face. Was this not a discussion at the first deciding that that's the road and we want a sign there?
Well, I told them that per the code as I understood it, their option, that the code allowed them to have a single road sign. A single wall sign. They could have put it on, I'm assuming they could have put it on a north elevation instead, but they just felt over the door, right there in the front was where if they could have one, that would be where it would be. And they said, "Do you think I can get two?" I said, to be honest with you, I told them, you got a better chance than a vape store getting two, I'll tell you that much. But, my opinion is most variances don't go.
I don't know sure what your implication is there, but
well, I'm going
to move on from that because
what I'm saying is it's a little bit more public interest for an urgent care center than other businesses. That's all. They're what they do is.
Well, I appreciate that.
That's it.
I don't disagree with you, but
yeah.
As far as I'll speak for my board here that we look at all business when we're looking at businesses. What you do, as I stated initially, is not played into how we decide how signage is granted or not granted. We're looking at ordinances. Yeah. But we'll move on from that. Does anybody else have questions for the applicant?
No.
Mm-mm. I have one other thing. I wanted to know. We had a variance issued at. Let me get my glasses on to read this thing. And I don't understand some of this anyway. A variance issued for 5232 Sunset Boulevard to have two wall signs. And that shopping complex, that's a huge shopping complex, has a couple of road signs.
I'll tell you, it's topography.
Is that the one?
No, that's the one in front of Hobby Lobby.
That's what
if I remember correctly, is that the one we're talking about?
Well,
and it was done for topography because you were below the grade of the road. This lot that we're talking about here could not be flatter. It's 300 feet from a road that has 40,000 cars that pass it every day.
Okay.
There's no issues of drainage. There's no issues of ditches, trees. It's a blank space in front of the building.
No, that's a second sign. It's not
two separate issues.
Okay, well, I don't know. I remember getting that one. I didn't, because I couldn't see it riding down the road was what.
As I stated at the beginning of my statement, it was a topography issue because the building set below the road grade.
The board does not set precedent with their decisions.
Right.
And that's where, yeah.
I'm
Each
just
issue's looked,
curious,
yeah,
you know.
each issue's looked at individually, and that one, we felt like that it fit for that particular facility. If you want to take this one and go put it in a hole somewhere, then come back and we can talk about a second sign on the building because you can't see it. But this particular property is on a flat, nice lot right there on the road.
You know, well, that's all I got.
Okay.
And then one question for you. Is there not a monument sign out front?
There is a monument sign out there? Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Okay. We'll have our discussion. What y'all think?
See any reason to have an extra sign on the side of the building? You've got a monument sign out front. You can see it coming and going.
I mean, my,
I come back to
Google's your best friend, and like, I was in an urgent care 2 days ago, and we Googled, and we got the address.
Well, and I go back to the thing that we talked about 2 months ago. One of the things, and I stated in the beginning, we have to answer these 3 questions. And the first question is, what's extraordinary, exceptional? And when I look at the application, it was more, it's saying it would be a benefit to the community. And that's not extraordinary or exceptional in my mind. And if I can't find something that goes into there, then I can't find a place to be able to grant the ordinance. And
Can I ask one question? Depending on, you know, how the vote goes today, is there anything that would prohibit them from then going back and kind of addressing the questions that you were, or the statements that you were making about previous discussions regarding making it a commercial, so they could still revisit that issue? Okay.
Do you know if who owns the piece of property the Prisma's on? Corley. Okay, so they own all that stuff back there? No. Oh, just that? Okay.
Orley's on the rest of it, I think.
Carson Corley.
Okay. Any other questions? No. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to deny the variance as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Can I have a roll call vote, please? Yep.
Yes to the motion.
Yes to the motion.
Yes to the motion.
Yes to the motion.
Sorry, you've been denied.
No problem. Not my place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess we have to approve the minutes.
Yes. Make a motion to approve
I thought I
the
heard you said your last.
minutes as written.
You were leaving.
I have a second.
Second.
Oh, you're not doing this?
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
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 You're approved. Anything we need to know from staff other than our fearless leaders leaving us? So, John, well before he cuts the TV off, I can speak for myself, and I think the rest of the board. Thank you for what you've done over the years, for leadership, for education, for training. I don't have a fancy plaque or anything to stand out in front of the place with it, but I know you would hate that at a level that you, put the camera on him. Put the camera on him, not me. Trust me, I can keep talking. But John, we really do appreciate everything you've done over the years for not only just us, but for planning in the town in general. You have been an asset to the town of Lexington. This town would not have some of the things we have and be in a good place if it wasn't for you being stubborn and kind of a jerk, but you're the right kind of jerk. So thank you very much, John. I appreciate everything you've done. Anybody
Yep.
else want to
Thanks,
address John before we go?
You covered it. That was
I
great.
covered it. Very good.
Most loved man in town hall.
What's that?
The most loved man in town.
The most loved, most honest, hey, one of the most honest men at Town Hall. I will say that for the record, and now it's on YouTube forever. All right.
It's been a pleasure working with you all. I appreciate your willingness to volunteer and work for the betterment of your community. I've enjoyed not every minute.
Don't start lying now.
I've enjoyed working here for 13 years very much, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, John. We wish you luck in your
Good
new
luck to
endeavors.
you.
And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Well, before you adjourn,
Oh.
we will not have a August meeting, but we will have one in September.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
Second.
We're adjourned.
All right.